First of all, I just have to ask you. I feel like I might have done a moronic thing yesterday. Somebody said it was your birthday yesterday, but then I saw online that it said it was not. So when I said happy birthday to you yesterday, was I an idiot or was
It was indeed my birthday.
Oh, it was. All right.
Yes,
So
yes.
okay, I looked online. I'm like, Jesus, I wish somebody had a birthday who's not
It
their.
was a practical joke.
Yeah. Okay. Well. All right. Real stuff. So, first of all, did you go to the movies as a kid? And if you did, were any films or actors particular favorites or influences for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I went to my mother used to take my brother and I to the cinema a lot when we were growing up. Some of the first things I saw was The Little Mermaid, which I remember being just totally absorbed by and fascinated by. Especially when you're at that age when you're totally susceptible to mermaids and their escapades.
Right. And then any actors, did they begin to?
And then the Goonies was
Yeah.
we used to watch that religiously. I'm sure I've seen it about 8 times now, and just absolutely loved it. And then started to, I guess as I got older, become more aware of actors and actors that I liked. And it's funny when you think and you start to make choices as an actress, how important it is to have someone that you admire and respect as a template.
Yeah.
Because I think it can be quite difficult knowing what to do and wanting to make the right choices. And it's really helpful to have people who have done it before you.
So for you, just not to harp on this question, but for you, who would some of those people be that you kind of want to emulate?
Absolutely. Annette Bening. I've always loved her blend of tragedy and comedy, which is just superb at. And then Angelica Houston. I loved watching The Grifters. I thought it's an extraordinary film. Helena Bonham Carter, always making unusual and brave choices. Julianne Moore, again, people who aren't afraid to be in unattractive roles, who don't let vanity dictate the kind of work they do.
So for you, do you remember, even if it was just a silly thing, when was the first time that you acted? And then when did it become clear that it was something you wanted to do for the long term?
I can remember. My mum said the other day actually that I used to spend hours in my room talking, and she didn't know who I was talking to. But there was a whole scenario, and the main thing would be being a teacher, which I guess you emulate what's around you. And I would have my teddy bears all lined up in my room, and they would all have names. And I was obsessed with doing a register,
Yeah.
you know, where you
Attendance,
write names,
yeah.
and then you tick them off,
Right.
and then talking to my various animals around my room. so it was and the post office. I had a pretend. Do you call them post office?
Yeah.
Like a pretend post office with pretend money, and I guess that's where it started, just being a kid and playing.
And then, was there an experience or a moment or something that made you take it seriously and say, this is what I want to do for the long term?
I started when I was 11, so it was something that I did. I went to a drama group where we then had auditions, and that drama group was incredible because it was after school, it was free. I met so many different people. It was run by a superb man called Colin Edwards, who's the reason why I'm in acting, really inspirational. And started to go to that, and then we would study people like Stanislavski. I remember studying Harold Pinter and just being so excited about his work and his writing, and feeling like this is something that's very important, but not being able to quite recognise it, realising it was important, but being quite scared in a way to actually say this is what I want to do. And it was only after university that I properly said, okay, now I just have to take the risk and see what happens. And you know, just if it all goes wrong, then it will all have gone wrong. But at least I tried.
Yeah. If you were not doing what you're doing now, what do you think you might be doing?
Oh, goodness. I'm not qualified for anything now. That's what you think. The more you act, like, there's nothing else I could possibly do. You can make it look like I'm doing front facing.
Right.
Well, when I was growing up, I had so many different ideas. I was a member of this thing called the Press Pack, which was a journalist for kids group, and you were supposed to write articles, and I wrote a total of 0 articles. And then I loved swimming, wanted to be a swimmer, so I think the fact that I wanted to do so many different things suggested that I obviously wanted to live a lot of lives in one life.
So, obviously, Like Crazy is going to be the thing, I think, that introduces you to the widest audience yet, but there have been other, it's sort of been incrementally building up to this. So I just wonder if you can say what were the major steps leading up to this, in terms of specific projects that you feel showcased you to lead to this point.
From work before in England.
Yeah.
I think. I said it's strange how every job shifts and changes you as an actor, so it's hard to find one. The Tempest was the first film that obviously was known here in America, but I feel as though I did the sort of like the career, let's say that again. The jobs where you feel yourself shift as an actor would be, I did a play, the first play I did called That Face. It was written by Polly Stenham and was on at the Royal Court.
Yeah.
Doing that, suddenly you feel like you're a better actor, and once you've been on that stage and died in front of many people, then anything feels possible.
Right.
And then I did a drama called Anne Frank, and that was Anne Frank in some ways, the style of that was very naturalistic, and it was really useful for then doing Like Crazy for that very intimate style of performance.
Were you playing Anne, or were you playing?
I was playing Margot.
Okay, sure, yeah.
And it was great to play someone, a real character. It's something I'd love to do again.
Do more.
Because you have this incredible resource.
Yeah.
Trying to not do an impersonation, but to do something new and interesting.
Well, as far as Like Crazy now, I just have the obvious question, and I'm sure it's one you've had to already do 10,000 times. You'll have to do 10,000 times more. But when's the first time you saw those two words together? I mean, where was it? Did somebody call? Did somebody write? What was the beginning of it?
The first time was receiving the outline through my letterbox in East London, and seeing on the spine from my agent in America, seeing the words Like Crazy. Oh, okay. What is this going to be? Because you obviously receive a lot of scripts, and it's not very often that you read something that completely captivates you. And after reading the outline for this, I just knew, I just felt exactly the right thing. It just felt very instinctively that I had to be a part of it.
Had you ever seen anything like this? I mean, it was not from what I understand, it's not a traditional looking script. It's actually something quite different that I hope you can explain what it is, and also what you made of it when you saw it.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could make films like this. This was complete fantasy. The idea that you improvise everything. I mean, I've heard that you create a script from the improvisation. But to completely, basically film the unknown, film the rehearsal was frightening at first. I thought this is going to be awful. This is going to be terrible. But then ultimately, just what a great opportunity.
So now you read it, you see, you feel interested, yet you're overseas from everybody else. How did you go about sort of procedurally doing that audition? I know it was done on tape, but I'm curious, what scenes did you do? Who did you do them opposite? Who shot it? Just logistically.
Logistics.
Yeah.
As an actor, you're obviously asked to do tapes a lot, and you end up having to become your own director, editor, writer within a day.
Yeah. Okay, so you were just saying the first thing. So.
Making the tape, I spoke to Drake on the telephone and said, what do I need to do? And he said make a tape, and he suggested 2 scenes, one from the beginning, one from the middle, and then I added a third because I thought it would be useful for him to be able to see the arc of the character, because she changes a lot in those 7 years. And then I had my dad's very old camera, which just cuts out randomly at any point and is the most annoying bit of technology ever in the history of cameras. And set it up with a couple of friends and put it on a tripod, and then improvise the scenes, one in my kitchen, which has no light, so Jake can see my face on the first scene. I sent it, he said, well, it's great, you sound great, I can't actually see your face. But then luckily, the other 2 scenes, the one was in my living room and the other in the bathroom.
Yes.
In the shower, which has more light.
Yes, and that one, I think he said when I spoke with him, he was particularly impressed that you would choose to voluntarily do that one.
Yeah, it didn't seem that odd at the time.
Yeah.
It's only now that I think, is that a bit weird?
Well, it worked.
Yeah, well, it said shower.
Yeah,
It said on the script, it said on the outline, it said shower.
Well, so now you send it off. I don't know. What are we talking? Weeks, days? And
no,
you hear
this
back?
is all days, because he wants to start shooting a week later.
Oh my God.
And I just thought, how is this going to happen? You know, it was a low budget film. There isn't the money to fly me out to do a chemistry test with Anton. So I sort of thought, this isn't going to happen. You know, I hoped it would.
Yeah.
And was checking my emails every day, and Drake wrote and said, looking forward to receiving your tape. And thanks to yousendit.com.
Yeah, right.
The tape got to him, and he watched it, and then I think a day later I got a phone call. I was at home, and he said, will you come out and shoot this film? And I said, really? He said, yes.
Pretty cool. Now, were you a little more excited than really?
Yeah, I was, my mind was going to overdrive, because I thought I've only got a week to get into this person and work out. There was just suddenly, the whole world opens up, and you've got to make sense of it as a human being.
Well, now, just trying to put myself in your shoes, I would say that the thing that would worry me as much as anything would be the fact that this is a movie that's built around these 2 people having great chemistry. If you get there and it's not there between you 2, there's no movie.
Yeah, if she's a douche,
yeah, exactly.
What are we going to do?
That's right.
I was thinking that in the plane coming over, I just thought, I hope Anton's really cool, because otherwise this is going to be very
suck.
hard.
Yeah.
And then I get there, and he's perfect. Yeah.
Well, he said that first night, I guess, that you guys were all at a bar or something. What was? I've heard it from his perspective. I've heard it from Drake's perspective. I have to get your take on that initial meeting, where I guess from that point on, really, we were in it. You were in it.
Well, Drake picked me up from the airport, so I got to meet Drake first. And I remember all thinking, I hope he's going to like me. What if he changes his mind? Did you just turn around, go back? No. It's acting!
You're very convincing, yeah.
And then we went and had, I think we went and had dinner that night.
Yeah.
And then the next day, it was all 3 of us.
Yeah.
And I just walked in, it was a Mexican restaurant in El Cholo in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And, El Cholo. And just saw Anton was just, chilling in the bar. And went over and said hi. We'll be spending a long time together.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And after a few burritos and a couple of tequilas, it was fine.
Nice. And so, I guess the next thing I had to ask you was the idea, knowing what the role was going to entail generally, not necessarily everything, obviously, because it wasn't scripted, but was there, I guess you're going to be spending a lot of, and you did spend, how long was the shoot? It was
a month.
A month.
Just over a month.
And as Anton explained it, you guys essentially, by the nature of the project where you're shooting 6 days a week, you're not really ever off because you don't know when they're shooting. You always had to be on.
Yeah.
As your characters. How do you, well, first of all, was that anything you'd ever experienced before?
No, not
Yeah.
not to that intensity, and because the style of the film was, it's very caught moments. It just it has a spontaneous feel. As you say, we had to forget that the camera was there, and I've never experienced that. Usually there are marks and there's a structure,
right?
But this was a lot more just letting the performances lead,
right?
The camera and the performances, I guess, being the main focus, and that being the most important thing, the characters. And it was a relationship. It was a relationship between all of us, because it would often be John Gilzerian, the DP, and Steve Holmes on the boom, and Anton, the three of us in a room, in very intimate situations. And I think that it's testament to Drake that he chose the right people that would get on and wouldn't, at the end, be wanting to kill each other.
Yeah. Well, and just quickly, had you ever had other projects that required improvisation, even to any extent?
No. Sometimes improvisation is good to try if the scene isn't working, just to get away from the script. Let's find out what the objectives are, what do these people really want, but not in this way. No, but I love that you can you just never know where the scene is going to go, and that freedom is very exciting.
I read in another interview or something where they said that the letters and the photos and even some of the gifts were things that you guys, it wasn't like somebody just handed them and said, pretend. So maybe you can talk about what some of the things were that you actually were involved with and how that helps to make it more real.
Well, it's taking I guess, a more method approach to building a character. So it's in being involved in the way the character looks, going and choosing the clothes yourself, and feeling that there's an association, that you're not faking it, I guess. And so with Anna, I wanted to stay over in the apartment where we were filming the night before, so that when I did the scene the next day, it would feel like mine. It would feel there would be a genuine connection.
Right.
And then the same with producing the books and writing the poetry. It's just letting you as an actor take responsibility for everything, and then that's that I love that way of working.
Another thing that occurs to me, and I'm sure, I don't know how to. You can tell me if this, playing traffic, if it's not a fair question, but when I just imagine that working under those circumstances where you have to be so open and sort of intimate in a lot of ways with one other person for that long, how do you keep, and you're never off, like you say, how do you keep a line between Anna and Felicity, or and the actors generally with each other? Is it something that you can't help but feel like your character, or?
I think that you definitely you want the character to overtake you in some way, and I think we were lucky with this is that we could give up. I mean, we had to give up a month of our lives in order to do it properly and to do it well, and then it was almost as if Felicity arrived, then Anna came, and then Felicity left.
Right.
And but that's what it as soon as I read the outline of it, that's what it needed. It needed that level of commitment.
But I guess.
And I think there wasn't a lot of switch off. I think we thought about it, we discussed it all the time, and that was our reality at the time.
And then is it possible to just turn it off at the end?
Well, with this, I felt that we'd done everything we could, and that is the best feeling afterwards. I just thought, whatever happened, you never know, as an actor, you never know how everything's going to turn out, but at least it was everything. At least we gave it everything. And so it was in a way, they left, which was a very sad day to see them driving off in a taxi, and I stayed in London. But I did feel like, I gave it everything I had.
So now the movie gets done, you guys go to Sundance, and getting in itself is a cool thing, I guess. But then what happened there, I just wonder if you can summarize the experience. It plays there, it plays so well. People, it gets a studio bidding war, which doesn't happen all the time. And then not only is the movie recognized, but you get this special award, which it's got to feel really cool. I wonder if you could talk about just the whole Sundance thing in your memory now.
Yeah, it almost becomes something completely different from, because you make the film, and to make a film that people actually want to see is so hard. To get a film made is hard, let alone to make something that people seem to want to see is even harder. So I didn't sleep for 3 nights while I was there because it was too exciting.
Right.
And I was staying in a house with the producers, and they would be coming back and telling me what was happening and saying about the sale. It was just extraordinary. I mean, I can't. It was just so exciting, so extraordinarily unexpected.
And so the last question is just, now we're, I guess, 10 days, something like that, from the movie opening here. I know you were saying last night it's a little longer before it shows up back home for you, but what do you think might be the result of this movie being seen by the world? You've gotten a sense from people who have seen it early, but I mean, is there any, as far as your own life and career, things may be changing, probably significantly. Are you excited? Are you nervous? What's going through your mind right now?
I'm very nervous, and I hope that people don't hate it. But at the same time, it's out of our control. You know, you never know how something's going to be received. I mean, you just hope that people get it and they want to leave their houses and go and see it.
And would you stay in England, or do you think you might come be here a little more?
I probably will be a gypsy for a year or so, I imagine. I mean, what is great is just the whole reason you want to do this is to play interesting people, and the more opportunities you have to do that, the better.
So just keep your visa in good standing.
Yes, every time I go and get my visa at the embassy, I'm petrified that it's going to be returned or refused.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.